Miss Lisa, the art teacher. Welcome back to my table of art. Today I'd like to talk to you about the element of art known as color. You should have been working on your booklet from last week where I had you start a book of elements. Do you remember how many elements of art there are? Well, if you said 7, you're right. I'm glad you paid attention. There are 7 elements of art. Would you like to talk about them together? We can list them. Ready? Color, line, shape, space, texture, form, one more, value. I forget myself. Value. So there's 7 elements of art. And we've started with the element of art known as color. And last week we worked on our color wheel. Do you remember what the primary colors on the color wheel are? Red, blue, and yellow. Those are the primary colors. We did our other sheet that listed our primary colors. Red, yellow, and blue, primary colors. When we mix the red and yellow together, they will create a secondary color. Do you remember what red and yellow together make? Orange. Very good. And how about if we mixed blue and yellow, 2 primary colors together? Blue and yellow will create a secondary color known as green. Blue and yellow will make green. And if we mix the primary color blue and red, we would get purple. So we've got red, yellow, and blue as our primary colors. Then we have orange, green, and purple as our secondary colors. Warm and cool. Let's review those as well. Warm colors. Think of the sun. Think of a fire flame. All the colors that you would see in that. The yellow, orange, and red. Those are your warm colors. Our cool colors. We have our blue, green, and purple. Warm and cool. Today I'd like to do a project with our colors. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you a template. A template is something you trace. Do you remember that? A template? And it's going to look like this. Does this guy look familiar to any of you? Some of you might recognize him from Among Us. So we're going to trace them. I've already traced it on a piece of paper, so I want to show you what it looks like. You see how I changed the position of my template? I overlapped my template. And I traced it all on this piece of paper. I didn't cover every single spot of the paper, but I filled my paper up with several tracings of the Among Us guy. So what I want you to do is make sure when you trace your first one, and then turn the position of your template to a different position and trace it again, making sure to overlap the other one. So overlapping. We have one template, and I trace. When I trace my second template, overlap it. You see where his leg is overlapping? Make sure you overlap, and then trace the whole thing. So you will see the lines from the first tracing, and you will see the lines from the second tracing. And I'll show you that up close again. Here's my first tracing, and then here's my second one. You see where the lines overlap? But you see both of their lines from the first guy and the second guy. I want to make sure that you do that. Overlap and trace completely. Fill your paper. Change the position. Here he's he's going right on an angle. Here he's on a different angle. Here he's upside down. Here only half of him is on the paper. Here only his head's on the paper. Here his bottom half's on the paper. This guy's upside down. So you see what I mean when I say fill up the paper, change the position of your template, turn it around, upside down, all around, have him coming off the paper. You don't have to have a complete one for every tracing, okay? So now that we've got that done, we're going to need to do some painting. If you don't have paint, you can use markers. If you don't have markers, you could use crayons. You can use whatever medium you have to work with. I'm going to use watercolor because what we're going to do is in the areas that are overlapping, the two primary colors are going to mix and they are going to create the secondary color. And that seems to work best with a watercolor. But if you don't have that, that's okay. We'll use whatever you have, all right? So let me go get my supply and I'll be back, and I'm going to bring the screen down so you can see me on the table. Hang on one moment. All right, so now you're at my table, and I want to just show you how I traced my Among Us guys. Okay, so here was my first guy, and I traced him here. Then I would just move him over, and I traced him again. Tracing means going around the template, following all the curves. Now what I did with my template for you is, I don't know if you could see, I've cut out the holes where his backpack would go and his glass mask of his spacesuit, because otherwise you would just get the silhouette of the template and you may not know where to put the lines for his mask and his backpack. So I've created slits, so you just have to put a pencil mark in between and you connect, if it's not connected, your little lines. And I'll show you a sample of what I mean, okay? So let me get a piece of white paper. Put it down. Here's the template. I'm going to trace around the template with my pencil. Hold the template down if you can. I'm going all the way around. So I only have the outline of my spaceman here. So I don't know how am I going to draw that line. I'm just going to put my pencil in the little slit that I drew. So now when I take it off, I can connect these dots. There we go. Makes it a little bit easier for you. All right? You should say, thank you, Miss Lisa. You made it much easier for me. All right, next what I would like you to do is take a Sharpie, a nice thick one if you have one, and a black one. And we're going to outline all of our lines of what we've just traced. Don't worry about missing lines like I just did. I'll go back and erase. Go right over the other spaceman that you made. Don't worry about the lines crossing over. That's the most important part we want for our project. We want the lines to overlap, because that's where our primary colors are going to mix with our secondary colors. I'm sorry, our primary colors are going to mix to create our secondary colors, okay? Here we go. I'm going really fast. You don't have to go this fast. You could take your time so you don't make mistakes like I am. If I just don't want to put you to sleep. There we go. Almost done. And you see how my spacemen go off the paper. They're upside down. This is all good. We like that. We like the difference in what they're doing, which direction they're standing. And I got one more guy. He's over in the corner here, and I have just his head. I connect his mask, and we're good to go. So I only have a few lines that I have to erase where my pencil is. You should go over that. If you have any pencil marks, let's erase them, because they'll shine through sometimes on when you use watercolor, and even markers sometimes. So let's just get rid of any visible pencil marks. Let's erase them all. I didn't do too bad, right? Ugh, almost done. Ooh, did you just hear my stomach rumble? I think it's getting close to lunchtime. Okay. All right, those of you among us will enjoy this. Okay, alrighty. Alright, so I have my cup of water and I have my watercolors, because that's what I'm going to use, and my watercolor brush. I'm going to start somewhere on my paper, How about I start with this spaceman? I'm going to make him yellow. So what you have to do is you have to paint the entire guy yellow. His whole body is going to be yellow. Even though it intersects with these other spaceman, I'm going to still paint him all yellow. See that? I'm going right over because he's yellow. You almost have to try to ignore those other lines while you're painting your first spaceman. Okay? I know that's hard sometimes. And you think, oh my God, I made a mistake. I went over that line. But we want to pretend we don't see those lines, and we're just going to paint the body of our first spaceman. Watercolors, I got to wake up with my water, but I don't want it too wet. If I make it too wet, my paper is going to be saturated. But I do want a nice vivid yellow. Nice and bright. See, I'm painting this. So take your time. Nobody's rushing you. Try to stay in the lines because the colors we're going to use are going to blend and create secondary colors. Today we're using the primary colors first. What are the primary colors? I don't hear you. What are the primary colors? Very good. Very, very good. I could almost hear you all shouting out those colors. There we go. Good job. There we go. Okay, so my first spaceman's body is painted. All right, now you see that he overlaps with another body. So I'm going to pick another primary color to paint the next body. Which one should we pick? Red or blue? I think I'm going to pick the blue one. And I'll paint him blue. Okay? See, he's going to be blue now. Now, I'm painting his body blue. And what did I say? I had to paint the whole thing, right? So let's paint the whole thing blue. So if that means the whole thing, that means I have to stop at this line? No. That means I now have to go right over this section with my watercolor brush. And if you notice, it's creating a different color. Do you see the color that it's creating? What happens when you mix yellow and blue? You get green, that's right. And that's what I'm getting right now. I'm getting green. I'm mixing my blue with my yellow and I'm getting green. And I'm doing this section separate because I don't want to smear the green into my blue section. So you're watching how beautiful the yellow and blue mixed together and it created the green, which is the secondary color. Very good, very good. You guys are doing a wonderful job. And now I'm going to continue painting the rest of my spaceman. And we've got a nice green here. Our primary color is yellow. Our primary color is blue. Mix them together, you get a secondary color called green. Very good. So let's just finish painting up this guy. And maybe I'll go into the next guy with you. Let me just finish this. We made them nice and big so we could see the sections change color by mixing the primaries, creating a nice big section of green. Okay, looking good, looking good. Alrighty. Almost done with my second color, primary color. Nice and neat, take your time. This is part of him, so of course I have to cover this. Alrighty. So, I have a backpack on my Martian that's mixing in over here on the yellow. So I already have blue and yellow mixed, which is green. So I'm going to put the the red primary color here and overlap it over there. So let's put the red on first on the backpack, because we're only working with the primary colors first, where there's a standalone section that doesn't blend with any other color. Right, this area doesn't blend with any other area, doesn't overlap. So this is going to be a primary color. Now I have to put it over this yellow, and let's see what happens. Let me clean my brush. Red's a strong color, so I only need a tiny bit. And let's see what's happening. Oh, I think I see a little bit of orange. Do you see how the orange is created by mixing the red with the yellow? Red is stronger than yellow, so you have to use very little red. Look at that. Maybe it's a teeny tiny drop more. I don't think I even touched the paint that time. Here we go. This is why I say the watercolor is best for this project, because they blend really well, the colors, with the watercolor. Alright, so now I have 4 colors. 1, 2, 3, 5 colors on my canvas. We have the primary colors of yellow, red, and blue. And on the overlapping sections where those 2 colors mixed, we have orange and green. Very nice. So now I have the blue going into this section over here. So how about we make this guy red? He's going to be full-bodied red, because this area here is not overlapping any other section. So this is going to be his red body, because the full section is all red, all primary. And where he mixes with another color will be this secondary area. This is nice. I love this. How do you like the Among Us? You Among Us guys, huh? Among Us. Okay, and those of you that are using markers or colored pencils or even crayons, if you find that the colors aren't blending really well, then what you might want to do is not blend the colors, but if you know what color they will create, then just color it green or color it orange. That might work better for you. Okay? Just so long as you understand that the primary colors being mixed together create a secondary color. That's the most important thing. Okay. And keep waking up your watercolors with water, because that's what wakes up watercolors. But don't make it saturated. Don't make it too wet that you're drowning. Okay. Going right off the paper. Whoopsie. All right, now. Here we go. All right, I have this little section of blue. Now, let's see, a little bit. I'm going to try a little bit of red mixed with this blue to see what color we get here. Ooh, just a tiny another drop of red. Because believe it or not, this red is pretty strong. All right, I see it. It's a beautiful purple. That one area where the red overlapped the blue is now purple. Good job, guys. Good job. So let's continue now. You can either make this guy yellow, or you can make him blue, or you can make him red. You know, it all depends on what you want to do. If you make him, let's see, maybe if I made him yellow, you might want to switch. So you go ahead and finish painting, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. And remember, where it overlaps, you mix the 2 colors. Okay, if this guy's blue, you don't want blue glass. You want to pick a different color. So if I picked yellow, then that means I don't want this to be yellow. This will be red. We don't want the same colors next to each other being mixed. We want to mix two different primary colors. So be careful when you're applying your color, what color you're using. Start with the body of the spaceman first. Do the bodies first with primary colors, switching back and forth to different primary colors. So go ahead, I'll meet you back here in a minute, okay? Okay, boys and girls, I've finished my painting. And let's take a look at how the primary colors created the secondary colors. So I have my primary color of red, yellow, and blue right here on this Among Us guy. But some of these sections overlapped with this other guy. So when the yellow and the blue combined, they created the green. And where the red and the yellow combined, they created orange. Over here I used a lighter red, but I still got an orange, just a different tone of orange, like a different value, that's called. So I have a little bit of a different orange here than I do here, but it's still the same colors mixing, two primary to create a secondary. Same thing over here, the orange is created by mixing red and yellow. But on his backpack, we mixed red and blue, and we got purple. Coming back around this way, we mixed blue and red and purple again over here. So we just today combined primary colors, overlapping shapes to create secondary colors. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson as much as really I enjoyed doing it, because this was really fun. So take your templates. Hold on, I'm going to bring you back up so I could talk to you. Whoops, that's my helping hand. So remember, trace your template. When you put it on the paper, change the position of your template. Trace it, use the little slits I made so you know where the backpack and his mask are. And then we're going to use primary colors to create secondary colors. And you leave the background white. There's no reason for us to paint that. And if you find that there's areas that are too plain, you might want to add maybe just a little part of his head or a foot coming through. That's entirely up to you. That's your artistic decision. So this is it for today, boys and girls. This is a project on color, primary and secondary colors, and shape, overlapping shapes. Because we have overlapping shapes. And we created our shapes when we traced around our Among Us guys. Okay? So that's Miss Lisa, your art teacher, saying, ciao for now from my table of art, and I'll see you kids next week. Okay? Have fun. Always keep art in your life. Be good. Be safe. Be healthy. Bye-bye. Be good.